Hello everyone. This video is part of a series where we are developing a microservices-based social media application, and our main goal is to learn the microservices pattern. We are also very interested in the main challenges that come with the microservices pattern, as well as some best practices and some solutions. So here is a brief overview of our current tasks and of our plan to the near future. Of course, there is much more than that, but that's just for the near future. And there is a more detailed breakdown here in case you are interested, so you can pause the video and have a look by yourself. We also have a Jira board where we track the progress of tasks. And we are now working on sending the verification email to the user once they sign up to our application. So in the previous video, we have implemented sending emails via our local node mailer app, but we did not update our signup.test.ts. So now if I come back to my terminal and I run npm run test, that's going to fail. Exactly, so it fails and the whole test suite failed to run, right? Why is it so? Well, our tests for the email sender are passing, but our tests for the sign up are not passing. So if I look at the email sender, if I go up a little bit, or if I look into the tests, I perform some actions here and I have some errors, right? So I expect to receive an error if the email sender is not active, or I expect to receive an error if there is no email API set. And then I have these two pieces of actions, or these two commands that I run in the email sender that are also necessary in the signup.test.ts. And here I don't run them anywhere. So I will run these tests in a before each loop within my signup test. And why is it so? Why don't I run this test or this before each loop within our setup after env? Well, honestly, I prefer to leave the signup after env as clean as possible, only with methods and structures that are going to be used by all tests. Right? So it may be the case that at some point in the future, for some test suite, I actually want to run a different email API. For some reason, I don't know why, but I'm just thinking that it would make sense for within our signup.test.ts to set up our email API, right? Of course, here I don't want to, for example, activate this email sender or the email sender instance here, because then every test that I start with, it will already start with an activated email sender instance. And this is not the default behavior. Whenever I reset the email sender instance, this activation flag goes back to false, right? So if I come here to the method or to the class, the isActive flag begins or starts with a false value. So I prefer to start every test with a pristine version of our email sender. Now let's then get the email sender instance. So I'll just say email sender is equal to email sender.getInstance. Right, so now I have the instance of my tests, and then here I can activate and I can set my email API to a new mock email API, right? So now if I save my file or if I save my tests, then the current tests should pass. Let's run this again, npm run test. And now we should see the current tests passing. Exactly, everything is working as expected. I also want to do a few changes in my environment or in my setup, right? So for example, now if I were to run git add like so, let's have a look at the status. Here, if I run git commit, let's go back to our package.json file and I will show you what I want to say. So if I run git commit, I'm going to run the Husky pre-commit hook. This pre-commit hook is going to run lint-staged, which is going to run these three commands on our staged files. Now, we have only one test staged file. We don't stage all our other files with tests. For example, the email sender.test.ts is not staged for commit, which means that this command npm run test pre-commit is going to be run only on one file, and we definitely don't want that. So we want to run always the test of all the files. So we always want to run all the tests before we commit. In order to do that, I will remove this command from here and I will add it here. But I'm going to simply run npm run test. Let me go back here up, and now I don't need the test :pre-commit command anymore. Now I can run just npm run test after lint staged, which means that if lint staged or npm run test fail, then I will not be allowed to commit my changes, right? So now I have a prettier and a linting command on my staged files, but I always run all the tests. So let's continue here. I will just add everything. Let me check here. I have the package.json, and now if I commit, and I'll say, let's see, fit of add email sender setup to signup.test.ts, right? Like so. Maybe it's gonna, no, it's passing here. I thought the linting could have some problems. And now, as you can see, it's running all our test suites, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so with this, we are now much better equipped to make sure that all our tests are passing when we want to commit something. It may be the case, for example, that if we just run the staged files, then some of the tests are not going to be run, and then I will be able to commit the files, and that's exactly what happened in the previous video. So when I committed the files, I didn't have any change to the signup.test.ts, so the tests here were not run, and then Husky allowed me to commit the files, right? So that's why we need to make this small change, small but very important. Good. In the next video, what I want to do with you, I want to add a couple of tests to the signup.test.ts route, which will check for the part that we should be calling our email API whenever the user signs up. Right? So thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.